The ability to manage your own emotional state is one of the most important skill in your life, if not the most important skill. It's your ability in life to be proactive instead of being reactive to life. And if you cannot manage your emotion, chances are you'll be controlled by them. Welcome to our series on how to build emotional self-discipline, and in this video we're going to talk about the most important skill in your life. My name is Armughan and you're watching TruthQuest. So this happened some time ago where I was with a person whom I really looked up to, and this was a person who was a friend of mine. But in terms of success, I looked up to this person, and he was a really good friend. So basically, he lived really far away. He lived in France, and we were talking one day, and we were talking about something related to life, or something related to the law of attraction, or something related to something along these lines. And I remember that one of the advice that he gave me at that time, and it has stuck with me to this day, is that he told me that your emotions can make you or they can break you. And the most important thing, like if you want to have a life that is filled with quality, if you want to have more life in your days instead of having more days in your life, as Abraham Lincoln said it is highly dependent on what you're feeling on a day-to-day, on a moment-to-moment basis. Because think about it, what else is life? It's all about what you're experiencing. It's all about the moments you're having, and the moments that you're having are basically, they are colored by this thing called perception, and your perception is basically dependent on this thing called emotions. So if you boil it down, it all boils down to one thing, and it's called emotions. And I've seen people who are highly intelligent. I've seen people who are, these people are wickedly intelligent, and you are with them, and you think that this person should have been Albert Einstein, or this person was. And I'm sure you must have seen these examples too. Like, you see people who have IQ more than Albert Einstein, or people like Stephen Hawking, and all these people. And if you reflect back on their life, it's like you have such an amazing. People think that you have such an amazing superpower, which is IQ. You are intelligent. You're wickedly intelligent, but you see their life, and their life is okay. It's more than okay. It's slightly above than average, but it's nowhere close to where you would think an Einstein or a Stephen Hawking would land, or any other successful person. So what it boils down to is that you can be very intelligent, you can be very, very masterful in all these other areas of your life, but if you can't learn to handle your emotions, they're going to bite you in the back, and they are actually going to stop you from progressing in life. So this is why I feel emotional self-discipline is very important. And actually, I really want to start this series by talking about what we just said. Is like, why is it important to manage your emotions? Why is it important to not just manage but master your emotions? Why are we even talking about this? One of the reasons that as I just said, that if you have everything in your life perfectly lined up, like you have an awesome relationship, you have a handsome sum in your bank account, you have amazing skills when it comes to your personality. You look really awesome. You look like a rock star. And there are people like Elvis Presley who look like a rock star. They live the rock star life, but Elvis Presley was on drugs. He took drugs day in and day out. Why would a person who had such fame, such fortune, such everything that an average person could wish for? He was famous. People listened to his songs. Women were crazy over this guy. Why would that person be on drugs and die because of a drug usage? Why would that happen? Because I'm very sure that the answer is because Elvis was feeling very bad on a moment-to-moment basis. He was not feeling good. So hence, he had to use drugs. And you will see so many more examples of people who were, I know this approach might be slightly reductionist in the sense that, the reason he wasn't feeling good was because of this, or was because of this. And I know all those reasons are there. But do you think if Elvis Presley or somebody else somebody who has a lot of other capabilities but doesn't have the capability to manage their emotion or control their emotion. Do you think if there was a possibility that they could go and learn this, do you actually think that their life would improve by, let's say, 100 times? I would make that bet any time of the day, because I believe that this is a common denominator in your life, and the common denominator in your life is actually not this. Do you know what's the common denominator in your life is? It's you. You are the common denominator in your life, because what is your life might be divided into all these different sections. Like, you have your work, you have your personal life, you have your finances, you have your health and fitness, you have your entertainment, and all these. I mean, you have all these different areas of your life, right? But what is common in all these areas of your life? It's you, right? You are the most common denominator of your life. You are the common denominator. Now, do you think when we are talking about you, the number one thing that your life depends on is you? We have established that. The second thing is, when we're talking about you, what does that mean? What are you made up of, right? You're made up of a body. That's great. You have a physical body. That means you have a biology. You have a brain. That means you have a psychology and a neurology. You have a brain and a mind, both, right? I hope. Right? That was a bad joke. I'm sorry. So you have a brain and a mind. So that's psychology. And we also have in there neurology. Your biology is there, and you have your physiology. And basically, I can name many ologies that you have. Basically, what you're made up of, if I have to boil it down to a few things, I would say that you're made up of your mind, and your mind is actually made up of your thoughts, right? It's a collection, it's a sum of learned experiences, as Skinner said, right? So your mind is actually a sum of learned experiences. Skinner actually said man is a sum of learned experiences. So he was very accurately close to describing what you are, right? And your learned experiences are actually, what do your learned experiences consist of? One of them is your thoughts, right? Your thoughts. When you're experiencing life, one of the things that you're experiencing in life is this outer reality, right? It is the physical reality that you're experiencing. The other thing that you're experiencing, and I feel it is more important than the outer reality, is your thoughts. You always have thoughts about the outer reality. You can, I think, therefore I am, René Descartes, right? So you have these thoughts, and your thoughts are like the fabric which make up your mind, right? They're like these tiny itty bitty things, and you also have this monkey voice in your mind that also keeps chattering, right? So that is there. We know that it's there, and I know we cannot objectively prove it, but all of us know that we have a voice in our head, keeps chattering, never stops, right? So with that established, there's also another thing that you experience in life that you are made up of, actually. And the other thing is, this is where it gets really interesting. The other thing is your emotions, right? And your emotions are like these feelings that you get, these, like, it's like if your thoughts are what you can see and listen to and perceive in those domains, your emotions are more like a wave that go over you, right? And you experience them. You can experience, there's a range of emotion. It's like there's a spectrum of emotion. We can't even describe it. It's like there's such a wide spectrum of emotion that you can experience. There's happiness, there's sadness, there's anger, there's lust, there's greed, there's jealousy, right? There's envy, there's inspiration, there's motivation, there's excitement, right? You have all of these different emotions that you can experience, and you are basically a culmination of all of these. And based on any single moment, based on what's going on in your outer reality, what's going on in your mind, you can experience a whole array of emotions. First of all, isn't that incredible? I feel it's pretty incredible. Like, you have this, it's like you have all these strings on the violin, right? And I know people don't like, people are like positive emotions, negative emotions, and great. You have some feelings that when they go on inside you feel good. Love is a good feeling, right? You feel it's a different vibration, and you feel like, wow, this is just wow, right? I want more of this. However, on the other hand, you also have something like hate, right? It's the complete opposite of love, and it's not a good feeling. You feel like, I want to kill this person. I'm gonna go shoot him, right? It's like that is also a part of the human experience, and it's like you can play some really, really deep low notes, and you have some really high notes, such as the note of love, or the note of sadness, or depression, or anxiety, which are basically low notes that you can play. So And what determines your emotions when it comes to, you have all these different emotions, and what determines what you're feeling in the moment is your perception. Your perception of the world, your perception, as we discussed just a few minutes ago, that your mind that takes this outer reality in, and based on what's going on in your mind, how you're perceiving the outside world, you have these certain reaction, and these certain reactions are what? They're emotions. So you have these. So this is basically what you're a culmination of. And I am sure, I mean, we have these different variables now which make you up, which make up your personality, which make up what you are, basically, right? What your personality is, or what your mind is, or what you are, right? We have all these different things. And I feel, I think, I'm pretty sure, if we prove one of those variables, and one of those variables is your emotions, your perspective, or your thoughts, right? Basically, and it's not like these are independent variables. Independent variables are like, if you change one thing, it's like the change will stay there. It won't move to the other. There won't be a ripple effect. So it's an independent variable. It's not an independent variable. Your emotion is actually a very dependent variable, because what that means is, if you if you change something, if you learn to manage your emotions better, if you can tweak this variable, the effect will actually be a ripple effect. It will actually go on and affect your thoughts, your emotions, and ultimately your reality as well. Basically, that is what the law of attraction is. It's not woo-woo, it's not magic, it's just you tweak it, and based on that, it's like a ripple effect that goes out, and that ripple effect create a change in you, and you create a change in your reality, right? In the reality that you're perceiving. So what it comes down to is, I feel that if you want to have some skills in life, one of the most important one is this. One of the most important skill, I mean, hands down, if you had to bet, one of the most important skills that if you wanted to pick, I would pick, if I had to pick three skills, this was a quote by Naval, and I really love what he said, that if you had to pick three skills from the whole array of skills that human beings can have, pick drive, intelligence, and emotional self-discipline. So drive and intelligence, very good, very great. You need to have that. Emotional self-discipline, you need to have that as well. And without that, you cannot actually have a life of quality. You cannot actually go out and build, and you cannot actually go out and do all these great things that I hope that you want to do, right? Discover truth. And based on that truth, you can live a life that is true to yourself, a truthful life that is a life that is on your terms, right? So in order to do that, this is very important. And this is what this series is about. This whole series is about how to cultivate that exact thing, which is called emotional self-discipline. So how we can do it is, we're going to do it this in 4 levels. And the first level is, we're going to talk about emotional intelligence, right? And emotional intelligence is the very start of what we are going to call our emotional self-discipline journey. And in this journey, emotional intelligence is the very first step. This is where we are going to talk about the basic understanding of what emotions are. We are going to talk about the basic understanding of what intelligence is, and how you can apply it to emotional aspects. And this is also where we are going to see the mistakes that people who talk about emotional intelligence generally, the mistakes that they make, and how we can avoid that mistakes. So level 1 is going to be emotional intelligence. When we have covered that, there will be 2 videos on that. And when we have covered that, we're going to move over to emotional self-discipline. This is where we actually go into the area of cultivating this self-discipline, of making this a habit, of making this a discipline. And I'm borrowing this from Jim Rohn when I say, discipline weighs ounces and regret weighs tons. So you always have 2 choices. One of them is discipline. Like, you can discipline yourself to eat a salad every day, or you can discipline yourself to go to the gym. Or if you can't do that, that is a weight that you do have to bear, but it's in ounces. The other weight that you will bear if you don't bear this weight is the weight of regret. And the weight of regret is it's in tons. Because when you realize that, I have lived my life, and I know that I could have extended my life if I instill these small disciplines in myself, then that regret is like, it stuns, because now you realize that you can't do anything, right? There's not a lot of things that you can do. And so Basically, this is where we'll talk about emotional self-discipline. This is where we'll talk about techniques to develop the self-discipline and practices that you can do to develop emotional self-discipline within yourself. The next thing from that is level 2, and it's called emotional self-discipline. Level 3 is what we are calling emotional anti-fragility. This is a tiny step above emotional self-discipline, because self-discipline is more about I'm going to be robust, I'm going to be resilient, I'm going to discipline myself, I'm going to discipline my emotions in the sense that they support me, they become my ally, not my enemy. The third step is anti-fragility. And anti-fragility, we have a whole video on that. You can go and watch this. And anti-fragility is the entire concept by Nassim Taleb. And what he talks about in anti-fragility is anti-fragile systems are the systems which benefit from stress. So if there's a stress on you, you actually turn it into growth, and you are actually a better person or a better system than you were before that stress. So how can we turn our emotions into that system so that when you feel bad, it's actually good for you, right? So when you feel stress, how you can basically transform that into growth, into inner growth, into you growing as a person, into you becoming a better version of yourself. And from level 3, we're going to go into level 4, and this is where thing gets really interesting. And this is where it's emotional freedom. And emotional freedom is this topic where we will discuss how you can be free, not from your emotions, but how you can have this freedom within yourself that comes from being okay with your emotions, accepting your emotions, being there, right? And this is where you actually go even a step behind anti-fragility, and you are totally, this is where I feel level 4, which is called emotional freedom, this is where you actually become anti-fragile, self-disciplined, and intelligent in the field of emotions. So we're going to take this step by step. I hope you join us on this journey. And this journey, let me tell you also that we're going to release a video every week on this multi-part series. So watch out and join us on this journey. And if you haven't already done, you can go down and subscribe to my newsletter, which is called Truth Thursdays, where I send you bite-sized wisdom to help you become a better version of yourself every single Thursday. So the link to sign up is also down below. Go ahead, sign up. It's totally free. And I'm going to see you in the next video. Till then, let's build emotional self-discipline. If you have enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to watch this video on my side. It also relates to physics, philosophy, and personal development. And also, don't forget to subscribe. Continue seeking truth and become a truth seeker.